Part 2. Impact of succussive dilutions. Outline of lecture. 2. Overview of past obstacles to understanding impact of repetitive succussive dilutions on liquids. The next two slides detail some central characteristics of the customary theories of liquids. Delineating these characteristics is important for understanding past obstacles to modeling the impact of repetitive succussive dilutions on liquids. Customary theories of liquids, some of their characteristics. The properties of a liquid are partly determined by the interactions between its molecules. These interactions result from the physical forces molecules exert on each other. Various types of physical forces exist, for example, electrical forces, magnetic forces, nuclear forces. From among all these forces, the electrical forces are the main ones that rule the interactions between the molecules. Accordingly, the customary theories foremost model the interactions between the liquid's molecules as electrical interactions. The type of electrical interactions explicitly included in the customary models are electrostatic, ES interactions. These are short, of the order of few nanometers interactions, that is, interactions between neighboring molecules are strong, but interactions between distant molecules are weak. The customary theories do not explicitly include electrodynamic, ED, interactions. It is assumed that these ED interactions only very slightly affect the energy levels and structure of liquids. Accordingly, these ED interactions are either approximated as a small perturbation, that is represented by the tiny so-called lamp shift, or neglected altogether. These are long, up to hundreds of micrometers range interactions. These interactions are mediated through the electromagnetic EM field. The EM field is everywhere. That is, each molecule interacts with the EM field. Which connects them. The next slide provides a daily experience-based visualization of electrostatic versus electrodynamic interactions. Electrostatic versus electrodynamic interactions. Electrostatic interactions equal Coulomb forces. Short-range interactions. Electrodynamic interactions. Wireless long distance. EM field. Assumption of customary ES theory was an obstacle to explaining effect of repetitive succussive dilutions. As will become clear later on in this lecture, the customary theory's assumption that electrodynamic interactions just very slightly affect the properties of liquids and are adequately represented by a small perturbation, tiny lamp shift, was an obstacle to explaining the impact of repetitive succussive dilutions on liquids. The next two slides summarize the obstacles to develop the exact physical theory of liquids, that is, the relativistic quantum field theory explicitly including electrodynamic interactions. Understanding the details of these two slides is not required for comprehending the remainder of this lecture. Development of quantum theory explicitly including electrodynamic interactions. P. A. M. Dirac, W. E. Pauli, V. F. Weisskopf, P. Jordan and others. in 1927, attempt to apply quantum physics to fields, for example EM field, instead of to single particles. R.P. Feynman, F.J. Dyson, J.S. Swinger, S. Tomonaga and others in the 1940s develop relativistic quantum field theory, explicitly including quantum electrodynamic QED interactions. W. E. Lamb, 1947, finds that in gas phase, effect of QED interactions is tiny. R. H. Dijke in the 1950s attempts to develop quantum field theory for condensed matter systems, for example liquids, which explicitly includes QED interactions. Due to incomplete information, condensed matter models assume QED interactions can be treated as a small perturbation. Justification for this assumption is based on the tininess of the gas phase lamp shift. K. Hepp and E. H. Lieb in 1973 theoretically derived that QED interactions may induce a superradiant phase transition, SPT, in condensed matter, that is, in liquids and solids. This finding implies that under certain physical conditions, QED interactions strongly affect the structure, energy, and dynamics of condensed matter. Whenever these physical conditions are fulfilled, the customary ES interaction-only theories are inadequate for providing a detailed description of liquids or solids. In other words, their small lamp shift approximation is not justified. Many physicists, in 1973 to 1988, questioned the physical reality of SPT. Their reservations were related to the form of the Hamiltonian required for describing EM interactions, ensuring gauge invariance, the exact treatment of thermodynamical properties of condensed matter systems. G. Preparata, E. Del Giudice, and co-workers from 1988 to 1993 overcame no-go for SPT and derived that SPT leads to formation of coherence domains, CD, wherein matter particles coherently oscillate in phase with a coherently condensed EM field. For understanding the remainder of this lecture, it is not necessary to understand the meaning of the terms coherence domains, coherently oscillate, in phase, condensed EM field. Confirmation by independent researchers from 2001 to 2009 that SPT leads to the formation of coherence domains wherein matter particles coherently oscillate in phase with a coherently condensed EM field. G. Preparata, E. Del Giudice, G. Ficciello and co-workers since 1988 provided examples of SPT in a large variety of condensed matter systems, including water, alcohol and their solutions. Identification of the SPT enabled quantitative and qualitative explanations for riddles which for very many years defied explanations by ES theories. Moreover, as will become clear later on in this lecture, it also explains the impact of repetitive succussive dilutions on liquids. We dedicate the scientific slideshow to the memory of Professor Giuliano Preparata. 1942 to 2000 Italy. Eminent physicist whose extraordinary and pioneering work in close cooperation with Professor Emilio Del Giudice proved crucial for modeling impact of repetitive succussive dilutions. Dear Emilio, close friend and co-worker of Giuliano, the privilege of personally knowing the late Professor Giuliano Preparata has not been granted me. However, the key to understanding the impact of repetitive succussive dilutions on liquids, soon after it was handed to me at the shore of the Dead Sea, led me to yours and his very impressive pioneering work on quantum electrodynamics, QED, of condensed matter in general and living matter in particular. For many months, nothing besides your amazing papers could capture my attention. I quickly discovered that the two of you, together with some co-workers, had already derived those QED aspects of liquids I needed for modeling succussive diluted liquids. I just had to put the pieces together and to show that the resulting model's characteristics conform to the experimental observations.
Because of my sisters and friends.
During my research, your papers were like close friends. Whenever I got stuck, I could turn to these and find a solution. From the moment I grasped the enormous contribution of you and Professor Preparata to the groundwork for modeling repetitive succussive diluted liquids, I wanted to dedicate to the memory of Professor Preparata the concerned scientific results. He and you worked hard for the well-being of mankind. I salute both of you. Just as in the song accompanying this slide, I wish peace to both of you. Tamar.